Hello, and welcome to MMOScholar's Lord Rhyolith Guide. Lord Rhyolith is a two-phase encounter with a unique mechanic. By hitting the boss's feet, you decide which direction he will move. This is very important because if he ever reaches the lava at the edge of his platform, he will begin spewing it at you and the raid will most likely wipe. The boss's health pool is shared between both of his legs and his body. The boss begins the fight with 80 stacks of obsidian armor. Each stack of the buff grants the boss and his legs a 1% damage decrease. To reduce this armor debuff, you must steer the boss over active volcanoes. The active volcanoes are the ones that are glowing and have lava flying out at the top of them, adding an increased fire damage debuff called Eruption to all players in the raid. When the boss walks over an active volcano, his armor stack is reduced by 10%. When he walks over an inactive volcano, he gains a small damage buff which fades slowly over time. Hitting inactive volcanoes will not cause your raid to wipe, and is actually preferred since it makes predicting future active volcanoes much easier. The most important job in this encounter is the job of the driver. It is important to assign one player to steer the boss. This player is responsible for telling your raid which leg to hit and how hard to hit it in an effort to move the boss where you want. We left our raid vent on for this video so you can hear a bit of how typical steering is controlled in the fight, so you can have an idea of how to control it for your raids. During the first phase, Lord Rhyolith will use Concussive Stomp every 30 seconds. Concussive Stomp knocks back players in the melee range and does minor amounts of fire damage to the entire raid. In addition to the damage, it also spawns the volcanoes, which you will have to run over. Some volcanoes will spawn lines of fire from them. After a few seconds, the lines will erupt up and do massive amounts of damage to anyone hit by them. In addition to the damage they do when they erupt, the tips of the initial lines also deal large amounts of damage if they come in contact with players. This is one of the only ways players can die on this encounter. Two types of adds exist in this encounter. Fragments of Rhyolith and Sparks of Rhyolith will constantly spawn throughout the first phase. You need one tank for each type of add. The Fragments of Rhyolith are your first priority. Fragments of Rhyolith will charge and explode for the remaining health after 30 seconds. This means that if you don't have the fragments dead before their buff expires, one of your raid members will be charged and most likely die. Sparks of Rhyolith are large adds with a fire AoE. Sparks have a stacking increased damage done and taken debuff. The longer the add is alive, the harder it hits your tank. These sparks are your second priority after the fragments, but before Rhyolith. This phase continues until you reach 25%. The last phase is an extremely short burn phase. It is recommended you lust immediately going into the last phase, if not even a bit before, to utilize all of your bloodlust or heroism. Lord Rhyolith will no longer ignore players in the last phase and must be picked up by the tank. He will do constant fire damage to the raid as well as still using Concussive Stomp, but will no longer spawn volcanoes or adds. Use cooldowns such as Power Word Barrier or Tranquility in this phase to keep the raid as close to topped off as possible while you're burning. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the MMOScholar YouTube channel for future videos, and check out our website at MMOscholar.com. Good luck on your Firelands progression.